Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And it's going to be a little bit of a different format today. It's just Dr. Sabo and I having a conversation. So we're really excited to kind of kick this off and just kind of go back and forth on how we feel about these products with Three. And I'm going to go ahead and just give you my background. My name is Linda McCormick. I have a PhD in neuroscience, and I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry my whole life. So many, many years. And I've done all kinds of things with the pharmaceutical industry, from sales, field science, to director of US Medical Affairs, to global director. So director of global medical affairs. And what I do is drug development. And so that's what I've been doing for a long, long time. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I really want to introduce Dr. Steve Sabo. And he is on our scientific advisory board for Three. Very excited to have him join us today. And he grew up on the Jersey Shore. And so I'm very familiar with that. That's where the company I currently work for is located, over there in Jersey. And he went to college in Boston. And then he went to medical school for a little bit in France, and then finished his medical school in Chicago. And then he did an internal medicine residency and an ER, emergency medicine residency in New York City, where he practiced there for 28 years. And so he now lives in Florida and is joining us today. So we're really happy to have him here. And I think, we talked a little bit earlier, he and I did, and kind of find out that we're of like minds. I mean, the way we feel about supplementing our diets with these products is pretty similar. But from my perspective, I mean, I'm in this pharmaceutical industry, right? And what we do is treat sick people, right? So, and what we want to do with these products from Three is be more proactive. It's all about proactive health and wellness. And I've been so focused on treating sick people, knowing who to treat. So who's going to get the disease, trying to predict who's going to be sick, and then just treating the sickness. And so this is something that has been a passion of mine, is to try to do it earlier, try to figure out, how we can prepare ourselves for, a more healthier life and lifestyle. And I think that's so important, especially in the environment that we live today. So I'll just let Steve, what do you think? I know you've got a similar idea, you've got a passion for this whole field. And I just want to hear your thoughts on this idea of proactive wellness.
Sure. Let me backtrack first. You talked about being in the pharmaceutical industry, Linda, forever, and 28 years. Isn't that kind of forever too? Being in the ER, or maybe it's two forevers. I don't know.
Forevers. Yeah,
that's a long time. And so I come. Interestingly enough, if you told me 10 years ago, Steve, you're going to be talking about proactive wellness and nutrition and good health on a Zoom interview with somebody, I would have said, really? You're looking into the future, seeing that. You see, because interestingly enough, I'm not one of these people that have taken nutritional products or been into good health all my life. As I tell people, my wife couldn't even get me to take vitamin C 5 years ago, even 6 years ago, something like that. So I come from a family of doctors, and my father and probably my brother and myself, we went to medical school, and there was no training in health and nutrition back then. But I've learned that it's so important. Over the years, Linda, I've seen so many people in bad health as they get older. And, and I don't know about other doctors, but I'll look at a patient, I'll say, gee, that guy is 80 and he's still skiing. I want to be like that guy when I'm 80. I remember a guy telling me that he grew up in Utah, and he was skiing, and he took a job in New Jersey and spent all his life, and he was still skiing. And now he was retiring and going back to Utah so he could ski over there again. But unfortunately, that is not the rule. That's the exception. And then you have so many people out there that are in such bad health, and they're overweight. They don't take care of themselves, and they get all these different chronic diseases. And I got to thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something better than we can do than, using medications for everybody. And that's when I realized that there are ways of prevention, like you're talking about. And so, as we discussed before, my passion these days is to make people healthier, and so they don't have to see me as a patient in the ER, actually.
Right, exactly.
And that's my passion, and I enjoy talking about this.
Yeah, and I think something true as well nowadays that wasn't true back when my parents, were growing up, is that the food was more nutritious. If we try to eat clean, right? We try to buy organic, we try all of those things, and you end up with a final food that has very little nutrition, or not the same as it was, right? And then additionally, this modern processed diet that we all suffer, it's hard to get away from processed foods, right? So, and a processed food is just like a manufactured, it's made to last on the shelf, for as long as possible. Take all the good stuff, like all the natural stuff out that's going to spoil, and throw chemicals in there. And it's convenience, right? So we don't have to cook. We don't have to do, we don't have to clean up after it. It's easy. And then we've become a society where we're just malnourished. And so that's why these products are just so important, important to supplement.
Yeah, it's true. And in fact, I read a study recently that showed that, you talk about nutrition from foods back then as to now. Yeah. And it's umpteen times the number of oranges just to get the same amount of vitamin C from the 1950s as now. And like you said, it's the soil, it's the nutrients, it's the way we farm, it's the fertilizers, it's all of these things. So all the more reason that we should supplement with other sources for our nutrients.
Well, absolutely. And we're lucky to be a part of this company that has terrific supplements. So
we are. Let's talk about that, Linda.
Because we really, why should we take 3 supplements? That's the whole question here, and maybe I'll just go through the list. For example, we have the multivitamin Vitalité, and I know you and I both speak French, so we're going to say these products correctly, right?
Right. Yes.
So tell me what is Vitalité, and why should we take it?
And so we should also say that in English, it's vitality, right? And we don't expect you all to pronounce them by the end of the evening.
No.
So vitality is a multivitamin. It's actually a packet of 5 different vitamins, and includes substances like essential vitamins and minerals, stuff that you're missing from your diet. It includes greens, and it includes a probiotic for help with digestion, and really important. And Linda, as we discussed, we're not going to go into a lot of detail. We're just going to kind of give you an overview of what each of the products are. It comes in 5 pills in a packet, and wonderfully absorbed. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later.
We'll talk a little bit about that later, but yeah, that's a must-have, right? It's basically everything you need. I mean, everything you need. You just got to have that. That's a no-brainer, And then secondly, we have the collagen.
Collagen? I think it's collagen.
Okay, collagen.
Familiar with this, actually spoke on this at the Hong Kong event a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And this was the last of the 6 products that I started taking. I guess it's the man thing, like, what do I need this for? And, I don't know if your husband takes that, but you don't have to say. He does.
He does. Yeah.
He does. So this is a great product. And so what it does is it gives a big glow to your skin. It tightens up the skin. You look more youthful if you want a more youthful appearance. And one thing I'll say in summary of this product is that you take this product, there's only 10 packets in a box. So you take it for 10 days and you're off for 20, and then you repeat it. And the reason is because, yes, there's marine collagen in it, but there's a substance in the collagen that actually helps regenerate collagen in the body. So you take it for those 10 days, and the rest of the month, you have that substance that helps, the pomegranate juice that helps regenerate the collagen. And then you repeat the cycle. And we've gotten great results with that.
Right. And there's really nothing else like it on the market.
No,
no, there's just not. And the skin is really important. It's the largest organ in the body, right? So I'm glad you're taking it now.
Yes. Now I take all of them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the third one is Eternal. And why should we take Eternal? What is it?
And I'll translate again. It's English for eternal. And this is one of my favorite of the 6 products, I got to tell you, because it has glutathione. Glutathione is a substance, it's the most potent antioxidant in the body. As we get older, the glutathione levels decrease in the body. So it helps fight against disease. It's a wonderful product. And because it's got an enhanced delivery system using liposomes and other substances, it gets better delivered. You know, if you just take this substance, the glutathione on its own, it's not going to get absorbed. There are people that actually get injections of glutathione, so they get the full effect. But we get, and we'll talk about absorption a little bit, we get great results with that. And that's why it's my favorite product.
Yeah, I love the Eternal as well, Eternal. And it's the resveratrol too, though, right? I mean, it's got 200 milligrams of resveratrol. And it's like, I know you're going to talk about this later, but the absorbability or the bioavailability of that resveratrol there really isn't another product with resveratrol in it that has 90% bioavailability. It's normally 20%. So again, we're lucky to have these products in our armamentarium for proactive wellness. But the fourth one is that I wanted to ask about is Revive.
Sure. And this is my other favorite product, Revive. Or Revive,
this time.
because it contains curcumin. You know, curcumin is the most potent natural anti-inflammatory out there. And it comes from turmeric, which is that spice that's found in like Indian food and Asian food. If you touch it, it can give your fingers a yellowish color. So you got to be careful you don't get that on your clothes or whatever. But it comes in a pill form here, and you take 2 pills. And what a wonderful product! My wife was taking something else before this, and she had a lot of joint pains. And within a day or two, it totally went away. And we're getting stories, right, Linda, like that?
Absolutely. And I think it's good for post-workout too, for that muscle pain and everything post-workout. So it's, I mean, again, that's a must in our whole, line of ingredient of supplements that we end up doing with Three. And the fifth one is Purify. Tell me about Purify.
Purify, as in French.
Yeah.
Anyway, like she said, Purify, it's easier to say.
No.
The detox product. It's really wonderful that in one pill, you can detox your body and get all the major organ systems and clean them out without a lot of those detox products that can cause diarrhea or other gastrointestinal problems. And what I always tell people when I start them, or when they take the Purify, is to just, we recommend 1 a day and to start at least 2 a day. And if you're really toxic, you can feel really sick when I don't know your experience giving this to people, but you can feel really sick after starting this if somebody's really toxic.
I mean, because, we do accumulate toxins as we just live. I mean, chemical reactions leave behind, waste, just normal eating will give you toxins. But then let alone our environment, right? The pollution, UV rays, and all of those things. So important to do this, to have detox. And like you said, it's all in one capsule that you're going to touch all the organs, which is terrific. You don't have to take a handful, right? Just to do the detox. It's fantastic. And then, so finally we have immune. What do you think about that?
What your experience is with immune, but it's a wonderful product, and especially in these days with, we'll just say, lots of viruses out there.
Yeah.
We're not saying we're curing or treating or any disease or anything, but with the ingredients here, the silver, the vitamins and such that are in here, it's really a wonderful product, and we take 2 a day. What I do is when I get what like seems to be a viral illness, I'll up that and take that, six pills, maybe a few times a day. And it's a great product. You have experience with, being ill and taking that?
Yeah. I mean, I travel a lot for my work, and, I've gotten that to where, you're in these crowded airports, crowded airplanes, and invariably I will start to feel something coming on. I'm doing the same thing, upping the dose a little bit when that you just had a high exposure, right, to some viruses or whatever it is, right? So I've done the exact same thing. And it's been, I mean, knock on wood, we've been pretty healthy since we started Three. So yeah. But I know that, speaking of that, I have, we've got experiences with the products, right? We hear testimonials all the time, but, just from my own experience, I know even my own husband, he had he goes regularly to the doctor, and the physician said that, his blood sugar was elevated. So he has it's measured by hemoglobin A1C. It was on the rise. And he literally didn't change anything, didn't change his diet, didn't change his exercise, none of that. He just started using these products. And the next visit, his last visit that he just had, the numbers were great. So it's been, for us, we've had that, just real evidence that something's going on, and I feel like he's healthier, and he doesn't have to go on the medication. That it was he was going to have to start something. So
I was going to say, I'm going to stop you there. I mean, how wonderful is that?
I know, right?
He didn't change his diet or exercise or anything, and all he did was take these 6 products, and his blood sugar improved.
Absolutely, yeah.
Isn't that a better way than, if you can? Now, sometimes you need medication for stuff.
Absolutely.
A pharmaceutical company. But isn't it better if you can do it with nutritional products? So what I'd like to also say here is the products that I think had helped him. I think the general vitamins had to have an effect, but also the detox product, the Purify, because if you have toxins in your body, and by the way, it also can help you sleep. So you have toxins in your body, and you can have problems with sleeping, with losing weight, with blood sugar. And so if you can get rid of some of these toxins, it can help with all of those things.
That's right. And I feel like, it was just it's a great way for us to kind of tell people too, that this is working for us, and we can say it with full confidence, So, and I know you've probably seen some evidence in the ER of maybe patients that have come in, maybe pain or anything like that. I don't know if you have any of those kinds of experiences where you wish you'd had something different. Because this is, with my husband, it was proactive, right? We were able to tackle it before the numbers got really bad, right? So I don't know if you've had any experiences like that in the ER.
Linda, every single day of those 28 years, because I see pain, would see pain all the time. Yeah. Somebody once told me the best thing you can do as a doctor is take somebody out of their pain, and they'll be thankful for you, at least for, until they leave the department. But one of the issues we have is that, what do we have to treat pain, as a doctor? You have anti-inflammatories, which means if you're taking a blood thinner, you can't give them. Tylenol, which helps with mild pain. And then you have narcotics. And one thing I realized, is that a lot of people don't want to take narcotics anymore. I mean, I had 2 surgeries the last 2 years, and knock on wood, I was able to throw out the codeine, Tylenol with codeine that my doctor gave me, because I did so well with pain relief from, at the time I took CBD and also curcumin. I took increased doses of those. But I want to tell you a story about it was about an 85-year-old gentleman, and I think he had a broken arm, or he had some type of a fracture, and didn't need to be admitted, but we needed to get him on a regimen of something for pain. He's an elderly guy, and I'm hesitant about anti-inflammatories, but he also was on a blood thinner. So with that, you definitely don't give anti-inflammatories, stuff like Motrin. So we talked about opioids, and his daughter was there and said, listen, doc, aren't we going to cause more problems with him? And so opioids can make you sleepy. And then, as she said, which is right, then you have a problem if he's sleepy and I'm not right next to him and he gets up and he falls and hits his head, then you have a bigger problem than a broken arm, because he could be bleeding in his head, especially being on the blood thinner. So we discussed it, and they elected not to take a prescription. And I advised them to get a curcumin product or a CBD product at that time.
Yeah. And that's where you had, there's no choice. There's just no choice. So, yeah. And I think there are a lot of other products on the market, right? You could just go take curcumin off the shelf, or one of these other, supplement companies or something. So in your mind, why 3? I mean, why these products? Why these supplements?
That's a great question. And that, Linda, that's why I'm here today. And I could tell you that's why the other members of the Scientific Advisory Board are here today, because it's different. 3 is different in a number of ways. First of all, I was once told this saying that all you get from vitamins is expensive urine. You think about that. I don't know if you've heard of that expression, but that's because most supplements just don't get absorbed. Right. Do you know how many absorption systems that we have with these products? Not in every product, but overall, do you know?
No.
10. So it includes liposomes, but it's fascinating. Dr. Dan Gubler, the formulator of our products, he's used 10 different, yes, liposomes, and liposomes are great, but there's 9 other delivery systems here that improve cellular absorption. And that's fascinating. So to me, that's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. Another reason why 3, credibility, I'm going to keep coming back to this, and the credibility with the absorption makes our products better than over the shelf at the big box stores, we'll just say. Mm-hmm. The PDR. So people that don't know who the PDR is, back in the day when my father was practicing, and he'd have the big red book there. It was called the Physician's Desk Reference, PDR. Now it's Prescriber's Digital Reference, because it's online. And it's a major source of credibility, because when physicians are not sure what to prescribe, or they have a choice, they want to look up the different medicines. What many people may not know, but also supplements are in this guide. Linda, all 6 of our products are in the PDR. Again, credibility, which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to absorption for a minute. Dr. Dan Gubler did a study recently from a third party to see if our products really were better absorbed. Now think about that. What supplement company is going to, instead of just telling people it's better absorbed, what supplement companies can actually test their own products, especially if they're not sure that they're better absorbed? But he knew that. I'm convinced that he knew that. He did the test, and he talked about the results at our convention recently, and he's going to be releasing those results, which I think we'll all be excited to see. And every single product showed that it had increased absorption over the control. And the control was actually a curcumin product. A lot of people sprinkle curcumin over their food. Yeah. Which doesn't get absorbed. So that's number 3. Number 4 is, what was number 4? Oh, our Wellness Institute, the Three Wellness Institute. And this is a farm in northern Thailand that Dr. Dan is working with now, the woman who runs the farm, and they're studying the herbs, the vegetables, the plants that are out there for medicinal value. Now, how cool is this? Think about that. Think about all the diseases and illnesses that are out there that need something, and people who have them, they need something to help them. And we have the potential to do that with what we're doing out there. And it's fascinating.
It's just that exploration that we're doing, because many of the pharmaceutical, I think 50% of pharmaceuticals actually come from plants. And we've only scratched the surface of the plants, right? It's about 5% of a 600,000 species that we even know or have discovered the medicinal value. So that work he's doing there is critical. It's critical.
And as you know, pharmaceutical companies do research on plants all the time. So why not us? And just to think that our company could be at the forefront of potentially some major discoveries, it's really exciting, really exciting. And then the fifth thing I'd like to say, again, with credibility and why three, is a study that he only touched upon at the last conference, and he's going to have more information soon. But he tested our products for influence and effects on certain markers of inflammation, like CRP. It's a marker, and all the markers that were tested, our products had positive influences. And again, we'll have more information of that in the next coming months. But how exciting that is, and these markers can be signs for illness and disease. And to think that our products are having a positive effect is just amazing.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I can't tell you, I'm the same way. Like, I never was a proponent of the supplement industry because of that very fact of the absorption and, again, the credibility. Nothing is, has been through any rigorous testing, but all of these have, and we're so lucky to have them, And
the studies, I think if you want to, approach a medical professional, and I'll just leave you with this, the 5 points I just made, and studies that show an improvement in something are huge, because supplements didn't have that before.
No,
stuff like we're doing here, and it's amazing. So that's why.
Okay, well, I think we've actually come to our time, and I have enjoyed this conversation, enjoyed hearing from you, and just gaining that knowledge that you've had to offer. So I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you on some of our journey as we move along with this. So thanks again for joining, and we will talk soon, I'm sure.
We will. Thank you, Linda.
Okay. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.